Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Illinois. Through it all. Audi, Truth in Engineering. And by Xfinity. Xfinity X1 will change the way you experience TV.
Last we saw you in Chicago, it was 30 degrees and snowing sideways at U.S. Cellular Field. Tonight it looks like about 69 degrees game time temperature for the Sox' first home game in a long while since last Saturday, 9 days ago. They'll face the Angels of Mike Scioscia.
There's looking one of the best managers in all of baseball. Mike Scioscia has been around a long time, came up as a Dodger catcher, now sitting in the Angels dugout, and he does it real well.
His offense, as we documented in the open, has struggled some this year. 23rd in the league with a .223 batting average against a Sox pitching staff that has one of the top 5 ERAs in the league and has only given up 6 home runs, which is tied for 3rd in all of baseball. Let's tell you about the starting lineup for those Angels, who are 5-7 after a sweep at the hands of the Twins. Yunel Escobar leads it off after a 7-game hit streak was broken for him yesterday. Then Gentry and Mike Trout, one of the best young players in baseball. Pujols, Calhoun, and Simmons. Giovanni Soto, our old friend, along with C.J. Cron and Johnny Giavitello. That's 1 through 9 for the Angels, Steve.
And we'll take a look at how they're going to line up behind Carlos Rodon. Melky Cabrera, Austin Jackson, Adam Eaton in the outfield with Todd Frazier, Jimmy Rollins, Brett Lawrie, and Jose Abreu in the infield. Deander Navarro gets a nod behind the plate, and our Lexus pursuing perfection starting pitcher is Carlos Rodon. Carlos in 2 games has been absolutely brilliant. His ERA 138, although he lost to Sonny Gray in a 2-1 game in Oakland. He threw the ball very well. 12 strikeouts in 13 innings. He does have 6 walks. Only given up 10 hits. The umpires for the game tonight: Jerry Meals, the crew chief, behind the plate. Then it's Chris Conroy at first, Gabe Morales at second, Paul Nauert is at third. So Carlos with 2 different types of sliders, a very good fastball, which will top out if he wants to get it up there. He can get it up 96, 97, but what we've seen this year is he's sacrificing a little bit of that raw speed for a whole lot of control. He throws a straight change, and the one wipeout slider has been absolutely unhittable. The get me over slider does just that. Gets him ahead of the hitters. If he stays there and he stays in the zone, he's got a lot of late life and he's very tough to deal with.
Robin Ventura, the skipper for the Sox, trying to get the team back in the win column after 2 straight losses where the offense really wasn't there. And in fact, at the tail end of that road trip, the pitching was more than carrying the offense. The final 5 games especially. Well,
for Robin, who used a lot of movement in spring training, used to hit and run quite a bit, bunted a little bit here and there, but if you don't have the base runners and you don't have the players in position who can execute, there's no reason to put it on just to put it on, and Robin is waiting for those guys to be able to get on base.
Off we go here from U.S. Cellular Field. We will show you our picks to click. You are welcome to select yours at home. In fact, one of you has via Twitter already tonight using the hashtag pick to click. Yunel Escobar, 33-year-old third baseman. 4 guys in this starting lineup age 32 or older for the Angels at 5-7 thus far this season after a sweep at Oakland of the A's, then swept at Minnesota. First pitch tonight, high and away for ball 1 from Rodon.
Escobar was born in Havana, Cuba, and when he puts his mind to it, he is one of the better players around. He can really hit.
Slugging .510 so far this year, and he pokes this one down the right field line for a leadoff single on 1-0. Escobar, a leadoff base hit for the Angels. Show you our picks to click in a moment. Craig Gentry comes up for the Angels.
Gentry has speed. He's a fine defender. Was a center fielder with the Texas Rangers. He shifted over to left field here with the Angels, and he can really go get him.
4 for 21 so far for Gentry, who takes ball number 1. Double 2 RBIs for Gentry, just 1 for his last 11 entering this game. There's a strike from Rodon at 82.
That's that get me over slider, which is a good one. Escobar has tried to steal a base. Once he was thrown out. This entire Angel team. 3 stolen bases in 5 attempts, so they're not exactly a running bunch.
They're more the sedentary Angels.
And the
Check swing and a strike.
They were never a sedentary team. Mike Scioscia does not have the kind of team he likes. He likes a team that tries to run you out of the ballpark. This is not the team. They added Pujols. They tried for a while to add Hamilton. That didn't work out physically. And they've got a few guys who can hit it. Not many guys who can run the way Scioscia used to love to run.
Yeah, even the guys with power. Garrett Anderson had the ability on the base path. They used to have power hitters that were able to steal a bag here and there, and it's sort of the Todd Frazier type. High with a fastball, 2-2 from Rodon.
Well, Trout can run. If he wants to steal a lot of bases, he certainly can do that. But when you're hitting 40 home runs, I don't think they want you to go out and try to steal 50 bases. You take a beating when you run the bases. When you try to steal, you have to slide. You take a chance on hurting something, and he means too much to this offense.
2-2. And he got him swinging. Strike 3 for Rodon, his 13th strikeout of the year.
This ball's over the outside corner, and it's a cutter, and that's one of the things he's working on. That's called the backdoor breaking ball or backdoor slider. He's got a good put away low and into the right-handers. If he can really master that backdoor breaking ball, the one that snaps over the outside corner to the right-handers, he's going to probably average well over 9 strikeouts per 9 innings, which is something that only the guys with great stuff are able to accomplish.
Here he will face Mike Trout, the 24-year-old. What's missing from that slider? You're saying the mastery of that pitch.
On the wipeout slider low and into the right-hander, it seems like a natural pitch because you're reaching out, you're throwing it to the middle of the plate and breaking it in on the back foot of the right-hand hitter. But when you're trying to throw it away to the right-hand hitter, it becomes more difficult because, number one, the aiming spot's a little different. Number two, instead of pulling it down, you want it to just slide across, completely different pitch. And so for him, it's part of the learning process. He's still a very young man.
Out of NC State, Rodon, who misses outside to Trout. 2 balls, no strikes.
Mike Trout is a dead low ball hitter. As you take a look at the earned run averages, the Sox leading the American League by a pretty wide margin over some pretty good pitching staffs in Kansas City and Oakland.
A's just got a series win against the Royals yesterday at home as Trout takes ball 3 with Pujols on deck.
You keep the ball letter high to Mike Trout, you usually don't have a problem. He loves to hit low fastballs.
See if they green light him here. It's a good pitch. 3-1.
Even if they are going to green light him, when you see a pitch like that low and away in a perfect spot, he's not going to be swinging. And at U.S. Cellular Field, 3 home runs, 9 driven in 12 games with a .306 batting average. That's pretty stout.
He is 0 for 5 against Carlos Rodon career. And there's a fastball strike, 3-2. Mike said ball is down,
well,
man.
He's wrong, man. The ball wasn't down. In fact, it had the whole plate.
Thanks, bro.
Yeah, I would say, Mike, your knees are not quite that low.
Pitch track says strike for sure. That is ball 4 and low. So 2 on 1 out for Albert Pujols. 562 career home runs walking to the plate, 1 away from Reggie Jackson for 13th all time.
He's grounded into 1 double play this year. When he's hitting the way he can, and he's been a great hitter for a long time, he will use the opposite field. And the gap that they're setting up is in right center. So like Trout, Rodon has handled Pujols pretty well. You can get him to hit that ground ball. There's no way he's going to be able to beat 2.
Two on, 1 out. And Rodon misses downstairs again for ball 1. Look at the guys within reach right now for Albert Pujols, and you look at his career numbers with 562. It's very likely that he ultimately catches and passes Frank Robinson this year.
I would think if they keep pitching to him, depending on who's behind him and who's on the mound, he will catch him and pass him.
I was looking the other day back at old numbers that Barry Bonds put up in that big era that he had. He had one season with 120 intentional walks.
I don't blame people in those days. Buck Showalter, when he was the skipper of the Arizona Diamondbacks, actually walked in with the bases loaded in a 2-run lead in the 9th inning. And he won the game.
Low risk. You know what you're going to get. 2-0. Strike from Rodon at 91.
When Albert was with the Cardinals in those halcyon days that he had where he was hitting everything in sight, he could put on his own hit and run, and frequently did. And he was so strong that a lot of hit and runs turned into home runs to right center field.
You know, he had that foot injury this offseason. We were wondering whether or not we'd see him at first base in this series, considering the injury. He didn't play much first base at all in spring training.
Now, in talking to a lot of the folks around the Angels, they feel that he's actually a better defensive first baseman than Crone. So they don't lose anything with him out there. And now that the feet are entirely 100%, he's still pretty good.
Rodon went after him, and Pujols fouled it away. 3-2.
Remember in Albert's early days, talking to Tony La Russa, who was a skipper of St. Louis, and I asked him about the position for Pujols. He says, well, he's at third base now. He said, but one day in the not too distant future, he'll win a Gold Glove at first. I said, you anticipate shifting him? He said, yeah, and he'll be real good there. And he was exactly right.
First and second, 1 out, 3-2. Inside, very close.
Well, this is going to be a strike him out, throw him out if he could get the call. Unfortunately, he doesn't, and this ball was inside. It was off the plate, a good call by Jerry Meals, but there's no doubt that Navarro would have gunned down Escobar had it been a called third. So some problems here in the first inning.
Brett Lawrie, always high energy with a couple of words for Rodon. Bases loaded, 1 out, and Cole Calhoun, the only lefty, coming up with Escobar at third, Trout at second, and Pujols at first.
And now pitcher has to readjust his sight lines because he's seen nothing but right-handers, and a left-hander steps in, and Calhoun is off to a great start.
Hitting .349, slugging nearly .500. He takes ball one. 28-year-old left-hander. He's got a hit in 10 of 12 so far this season for the Angels. Cole Calhoun, a very good defender in his own right.
And he's from Buckeye, Arizona, which is right down the road from the Sox spring training.
Cracked foul, 1-1.
He's been a pretty solid player, although he hit just .256 last year. He hit 26 home runs and drove in 83. Now, he's no stranger to the strikeout. He fanned 164 times. There's no doubt Carlos could use one here.
Andrelton Simmons on deck, who's been hot hitting as well. Through the right side, and the Angels are on the board first. Stop sign at third for Trout. Escobar scores, and the ball gets away.
There wasn't much of a chance of getting Calhoun at first, and the backhand flip by Jose just went completely by Lawrie. So out comes Don Cooper. 2 early runs for a team that hasn't been scoring any, and Calhoun drives in his 6th run of the year. He gets that fastball right over the middle of the plate. No chance of scoring the man from third. Jose flips it well away from Lawrie. He had no chance to get that one, so it goes E1, and it's a 2-0 game.
E3, that, yeah. A rare Cavalier play from Jose Abreu over there at first, and this is not dissimilar. Remember, the first home game of the season, there was the error in the first inning that Alex Avila committed that opened the floodgates some in John Dank's first start. So second and third, one out for Andrelton Simmons, who comes in on a 10-game hit streak and takes ball one.
A surprising statistic, but no pitcher in baseball had more at-bats with the bases loaded than Carlos Rodon, and he faced the bases loaded 22 times.
2-0.
Simmons came up with the Atlanta Braves. In high school, pitching, he threw the ball 98 miles an hour, and there was a lot of people that felt that that might be his trade. But he loved to hit. He's a wonderful shortstop, and he probably has the best arm in baseball.
That's a low, 3-0, and 6 batters, Steve. All 6 have seen ball one first.
Well, unfortunately, that last pitch was a strike, but you don't get them if you're not around the plate with any of the others. You're not going to get the close pitches.
That is a strike on the outside edge. 3-1 for Simmons.
Former White Sox catcher Giovanni Soto in the on-deck circle.
Pitch number 27 of the inning is strike 2 on the very fringe of the corner. He's gotten a couple, he's lost a couple here in the first. Pitch Tracks is saying does not compute at this moment. 3-2. On the ground pass to Abreu. Pujols is in. Calhoun ran through a stop sign briefly and retreats to third. It's a 3-0 Angels lead on the Simmons RBI.
RBI number 3 for Simmons as he shoots it through the right side. This is a high fastball. I'm pretty sure he didn't want it up there. So this, so far, a disastrous inning for the young man who's had 2 very good starts. And against a team he dominated last year, he just can't get the ball consistently near the plate.
You see anything mechanically so far? 28 pitches in?
Now, usually when you're missing high and away as he is, he's not staying closed quite enough. But he's missing with everything. He's throwing equal opportunity balls. Missing up, he's missing down. He's missing in, he's missing out. So just one of those days.
3 hits, 2 walks. All 3 of the hits singles so far. On the ground past Rollins into left. 4-0 Angels. Calhoun plated by Soto.
RBI number 3 for Giovanni Soto. This a fastball. It was right down the middle. And Soto hit it by a diving Jimmy Rollins.
That ball has a little less pace. It might be 6-4-3 to end the inning. Instead, it is the 3rd straight hit, the 5th straight batter to reach since the Gentry strikeout. C.J. Cron, first pitch hunting for strike 1.
So the scoreless streak went by the boards. It was 12 straight innings without allowing an earned run. Matt Albers has the longest active streak with 31.
What a season he's had in the back of that bullpen for the Sox.
He's been terrific, and Jake Petrichka throwing into pen. Last thing in the world with no off days until May 2nd that Robin wants is to have to cover, at this point, 25 outs.
High fastball fouled off by Cron, and the pitch count mounting to 33 pitches in an inning for Rodon with 17 strikes. Oh, 2. Ball 1. You know, it's funny when you catch a team, right? The Angels just ran into the Twins, who were 0-9. You left Target Field thinking I don't know when the Twins are going to win. The Twins sweep the Angels, so the Angels are coming off a sweep. They need one pretty badly, and they put up 4 and maybe more here in the first inning tonight. Simmons stops at third. Crone has loaded the bases, and Giavotella to hit, the 9th batter of the inning for the Halos.
5 hits, 2 walks. And Navarro out there to kill a little time, as he is to settle down Carlos Rodon, who is not missing many bats. And whether they hit it hard or soft, they're finding a place for it to land safely.
So Simmons at third, Soto at second, Crone at first, and Giavotella, who's just 3 for 28 this year, standing in. One bounces slightly away, but not far enough for Simmons to advance. Are you feeling a double play ball in your knee here? You getting a premonition?
Well, certainly you'd love to see it, but you need some contact on the ground as you look at the bases full of Angels in a 4-0 game. And there's only been 1 out recorded. That was Gentry, when things still look pretty good.
Strike 1. Here's the good news. This is all happening in the first inning. You got all 27 outs to work with.
You do that. And 4 certainly is not insurmountable, even for a team not scoring like the Sox. But to do that, you've got to shut the door right here.
1 and 2. Got a swing on a ball outside from Giavotella in his second season with the Angels.
He had some eye problems last year that curtailed the end of his season. When he came back, he actually swung it pretty well, and he's won the starting job at second base.
Wrapping on the door of 40 pitches, Rodon with ball 2. Yeah, it was an odd injury, if you can even call it an injury, more of a malady for Giavotella. He had 4th nerve palsy, meaning, at least the way it manifested with him, when he looked down or down and to the left, his vision got blurry.
Not great for a hitter, unless you just want to hit inside pitches.
2-2. Sprayed foul. That was pitch number 40.
But they didn't know why it came. They didn't know why it left. They just know that it did leave, and now he's 100%. Off to a fairly slow start.
So this inning has been single, strikeout, walk, walk, single, 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 single.
And out of the 9 hitters, 1 first pitch strike, which will normally guarantee that you're going to have a tough inning. Not the 9 hitters, but the inability to throw the first pitch strike.
Laced through the right side, another base hit for the Angels. And they will stop with him loaded again. Giavotella scores Simmons. It's a nickel for the Angels. And the locals are displeased as Carlos Rodon will leave.
Lonely feeling out there on the mound. There are just some days when nothing goes right. You get behind hitters, and then everything they hit finds a hole. So as Jake Petrichka comes into the game in the first inning, we'll step out and be back after these messages. ball, and that is
What are those?
Jake Petrichka coming out of the bullpen in the first inning. And there is Jake. On for the 5th time. His stuff has been terrific. He just has had all kinds of problems getting the ball over the plate with the 5 walks in 2 innings. He's got no margin for error as we swing back to the top of the order, and it's bases full of Angels once again.
Kind of feel like Ned Ryerson's going to come walking down the street. We've been here before. Escobar just hit, what, about 20 minutes ago?
Yeah, I looked up at the sky and there are no clouds. There will not be a rainout, although you could use a do-over.
Tap foul. He was in the box. Foul ball. Jake Petrichka was a starter, as many pitchers are. As Rodon watches Jake take over, he was a starter dating all the way back to 2013. His last start was in the minors in 2013. He was with Birmingham, facing off with the venerable Huntsville Stars in that game. He started and went 2 2/3. Oh, 2.
When Jake keeps the ball in the neighborhood of the knees, the ball usually sinks to mid-calf. When that happens, everybody hits the top of the ball, and they usually don't have much to show for it except a ground ball in the infield, and that can turn into 2, which is exactly what Jake could use here with Escobar.
0-2. Fisted foul by Escobar. You can already see by the reaction of Escobar that Petrichka's got some good life on that fastball.
Well, he certainly doesn't like it inside. Not that far in anyway. Last 2 years in a row, Jake was able to throw 12 double plays. He would love to throw one here.
Wanted it, went downstairs. 1-2. Well, you saw Carlos Rodon over on the bench. What do you tell him if you're Don Cooper?
There's really, at this point, there's nothing to tell him. It's just one of those nights, and every pitcher has one. So, as a young pitcher, it's very difficult to take. You don't think you'll ever leave in the first inning.
Checked it up. He didn't go.
Certainly, you're not going to leave with the bases loaded, 5 in, and only 1 out. But as anybody who's been there will tell you, it can happen, and it does. So he does indeed check his swing as the appeal to Chris Conroy went for naught.
2-2. To shortstop, Rollins 1. Glory first, double play. See you later, top of the first. 9 innings worth. Adam Eaton, Jimmy Rollins, Jose Abreu, then Frazier, Cabrera, and Laurie. Avi Garcia, that big 3-run homer last time the Sox played at home. Then Navarro and Jackson, 1 through 9 for Robin.
Mike Scioscia. And his defense behind Hector Santiago is Gentry, Trout, and Calhoun in the outfield with Escobar, Simmons, Giovitella, and Pujols in the infield. Giovanni Soto behind the plate. And our Lexus pursuing perfection starting pitcher is Hector Santiago. In 2 starts, doesn't have a record, does have an ERA just below 4. His fastball tops out about 94.
2 miles an hour short of that to Eaton for ball number 1. To Adam, who's got 6 multi-hit games already through 12 this season for the Sox. Ball to strike on Eaton.
Escobar very close at third. He's in on the grass to take away the bunt just in case Adam has any thoughts. And Albert Pujols even with the bag at first.
1-2 on Eaton.
When our ball club had Hector Santiago, he was trying to refine that screwball that he threw. Lately he's been going more to a straight change, which is probably easier for him to throw.
Many have called you a refined screwball.
Refined would be stretching it.
2-2. You think?
Yeah. So bird feeder, huh? Is that what we got?
You're getting too technical now for our general populace. Ground ball to shortstop. Simmons for out number 1. We have a whole new contraption in the truck is what Steve's telling you about.
That's true. Yeah. Making things a lot more comfortable up here.
Steve's been gnawing on birdseed for the last half inning in honor of it. Let's tell you about our picks to click tonight as Jimmy Rollins comes to the plate. Well, I let the folks pick on Twitter, and they decided on Todd Frazier, Brett Laurie for you, Avi Garcia for the crew, John Walgren, Jim Angio, and the bunch. And my selection comes from a Twitterer using the hashtag #PickToClick. Beats by Dr. Spy is his name, and his reason for Frazier tonight is that he's a right-hand power bat in warm weather against a lefty starter, and he's due. That's good rationale, right?
I would say it's as good as any. I mean, realistically, you know he's going to break out of it, and there probably isn't a better time than coming off a road trip, feeling pretty good about being home, and trying to take advantage of Santiago. Well, if he keeps throwing it up and in there, not be able to take advantage too much at 94, pretty good pitch. And Hector's brother works for the White Sox, and a pretty good coach, done a great job. I know they really enjoy having him.
Up and in, 2-2. Hector used to work for the White Sox as well, a 30th round pick in 06.
Turned out to be a pretty good pitcher. He's a very good athlete. He's got a slider, and he makes it break a little bit bigger. It looks like a curveball, but it really is a slider.
Outside, 3-2 on Rollins. It was 1 for 4 career against Santiago. Five runs on 6 hits in the first for the Angels. Rollins rips this one foul down the left field line.
One of the things that gives you some hope is that Hector Santiago has allowed at least 1 home run in each of his last 7 games. That goes back to September 12th of last year. That's the longest active home run streak. So put a couple men on ahead of it, and all of a sudden, you got yourself a ball game.
Easy as that, right?
It's as easy as that.
Ball 4. There's 1 man on with 1 out for Jose Abreu.
That's one of the things that the Sox have got to start doing a bit more, because they are hitting the ball out of the park with some regularity, but they haven't been walking a great deal. If they start to do that, there is no doubt that things are going to start going a lot better for them. For instance, the Angels have enjoyed 41 walks at this point. Our Sox, at this point, 24 walks.
and especially at the tail end of that road trip. We were talking about this yesterday as Abreu takes a strike. 3 walks the last 5 games of the road trip, but you look, you're 3-2 in those games. You're still winning, and you'll take it as long as you can.
Yeah, the pitching really has been overwhelming. The pitching out of the bullpen has been close to unhittable. The starters have done a great job, but you've got to start scoring in the American League.
Major shift was on. Abreu plops it into right field. They had him played to pull on the infield, and he shoots one toward Calhoun in right. 2 on for the Sox with 1 out of the first.
One of the big advantages for the big man at the 3 spot is that he's not going to see that breaking ball breaking away from him from Santiago. So he reaches out, takes a fastball away, drops it in front of Calhoun. They're not going to do a whole lot of running on Calhoun because he throws very well. And it's a promising first inning.
2 on, 1 out for Todd Frazier, who struck out 4 times yesterday, just the 2nd time ever in his career. He had a 4 strikeout game in 9 innings, and he got under this one. Calhoun in right for out number 2.
Ball got away briefly, and it was retrieved by Simmons.
We've got some very strong defensive players on this team. You look at Simmons over at third. At shortstop, I should say, Escobar has had great numbers in the past at third. They haven't been as strong the last few seasons, but Calhoun tops in right field in defensive runs saved in the American League last year.
And Trout in center field has done one thing. You don't expect a guy that's perennially in the conversation for MVP to be able to do this, but he's really improved his arm by huge sessions of long toss. And so now we're used to run on him routinely. You're not doing it quite as much. And they can all throw in the outfield, especially Gentry and Calhoun. Trout has gotten a whole lot better. There you see the run saved in 2015. We just left Kevin Kiermaier. But Andrelton Simmons with 25, right ahead of Starling Marte of Pittsburgh, Jason Hayward now of the Cubs, Brandon Crawford of the San Francisco Giants.
Essentially what defensive runs saved tells you is if you put an average fielder at that position, how many fewer runs would you give up with the guy that you've got? Laced to third, right at Escobar. And the rally goes by the board. Sox put 2 on, can't score. 5-0 after 1. Dan Hayes from CSNChicago.com, presented by The Great Escape. Pools, patio furniture, hot tubs, and more. Escape your everyday shop. The Great Escape. Dan Hayes is here. We dressed as the American flag today. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for the heads up on that.
Yeah, it was nice. You filled in the blue beautifully. What you got for us?
Well, we talked to Todd Frazier a little bit yesterday after his 4-strikeout game, again today, and he's very bothered by this, but at the same time he said he remains upbeat. He's went into the cage today. He also did some video work. He's not a very big video work guy, but the White Sox had kind of thought he was pressing. They wanted to show him what he was doing. So he went in, watched some video, and then they went into the cage afterwards. And actually, Frazier yesterday when he struck out, that was the first time in 2 years that he had struck out 4 times a game. He said he thought he was chasing pitches, and actually the career numbers are higher. He's struck out about 3, or he's swinging. He's more selective right now. Yeah. And actually,
I saw your tweet earlier today. It was something like 30%.
Yeah, 30%
swing right now.
And it was 34 in his career. So he's actually swinging at better pitches. The problem is they think that he is actually missing his pitches. He's actually making contact on pitches in the zone about 5% less than his career rate, 7% less than last year. So really the confidence level there from the White Sox end is that he can get back on track. They think he's just not hitting what he's supposed to. And both Frazier, Steverson, and Robin Ventura really feel confident that he's about to turn this around.
There's no doubt that the guys in the middle are going to have to do it. And Abreu with a base hit. Frazier swinging at the first pitch, popped it up. But if they don't get it done, it's going to be hard to get it done. I think they're both capable of doing it. I think we'll see a little bit more from them.
Yeah, Todd Steverson said, look, we're not going to take these first 50 at-bats and think this is what he's going to do for 550 more. This is a guy that has done this for a couple years. He's a 2-time All-Star. They really believe that he's going to start kind of connecting on those pitches. And yesterday at the end of the game, Todd Frazier talked about the fact that he would love to see Matt Moore again, that he'd like to be a little bit more in tune with his game, and he thought there were a few that he missed for sure.
He's got a chance to see him. It's just going to be real late in the year, the last week of the season. So hopefully there'll be a whole lot on the line the next time he does hook up with him.
Barring some trade deadline deal. Swing Matt Moore somewhere else. There's strike 3. Petrichka handles Trout very well.
In the meantime, it was a wonderful play by Diana Navarro as he jumped out from behind the plate, gunned down Gentry, who's got good speed, and this time Mike Trout doesn't like the pitch up. He just does not like it, and so he goes down on strikes.
Well, Dan Hayes, continue your intrepid reportage. We will join you again very shortly.
Thanks
Next couple days in the homestand. Are you going to come back or no? Are you done with us?
We're our paths actually crossed this time. So
yeah, how about it? You made it into the booth finally for a game that I'm here for. Thanks, Danny.
Thanks
Talk to you soon. You can follow him at CSN Hayes for wit, wisdom, and the like, but mostly the like. 2-0 from Petrichka to Pujols. Well, Dan's talking about Todd Frazier, and he's the type of guy who's adjusted very well in his career. Struggled last year in the second half. Had a fine spring training, as Robin talked about after the game yesterday. And the good news is the defense has been very strong so far this year from Frazier.
I don't believe the Sox are where they are at 8-4 without his defense at third, because when you have 4 left-handed starters, you have to have a guy down there that can pick the ball because of the slow breaking balls and a lot of the cutters into the right-handers. And he's done a great job, made some sparkling plays at third, can charge with the best of them. And so that part of his game, which a lot of guys will take to the field with him when they're not hitting, hasn't really affected Todd in that way.
Wrapped foul, 3-2 on Albert Pujols, who walked and scored in that first inning. If you just tuned in, you missed something. First inning, 6 hits, 5 runs for the Angels, who evicted Carlos Rodon from the game after a third of an inning.
Unfortunately, just didn't have it. A couple of walks. He was behind a lot of the Angel hitters, and every time they hit the ball, it found a place to land safely.
Rollins on the charge at short. Albert Pujols not terribly interested in the Usain Bolt act. 1-2-3 inning for Petrichka in the second.
special guests Chris Cook and Mark Potash as they preview a huge Game 4 matchup between the Hawks and the Blues. Don't miss Sports Talk Live tomorrow at 5 on CSN Chicago.
We seem to have an abundance of potashes in this town.
We have a few of those, but you were also on that pretty much today.
Yeah.
Did just a wonderful job making David Kaplan look good, which is a never-ending task.
That's a 24-hour bit of labor. Ball 1 to Brett Lawrie. He's hitting .304 this young season. 7-game hit streak for Brett.
Outfield shading him around toward right center. Infield, on the other hand, playing him a bit as a pull hitter. Simmons has remarkable range at shortstop, and if he gets his hands on it, it's really tough to outrun that arm.
One and two on Lawrie. 2 for 10 for his career against Hector Santiago. Who you mentioned in that first inning has scrapped the screwball that he used to throw.
Well, he threw a few in spring training, not near as many as he was trying to throw last year. I think for him the straight change is a better pitch because he does have very quick arm action. You can get the ball up there 94, 95, and we're seeing it tonight. He's got a very good fastball in the early going.
Couldn't get Lawrie to chase. 2 and 2.
There's an example of that straight change. And as you can see, 76% fastballs, the straight change, 19%. Curveballs and or sliders, just 5% of the time.
High fastball at 96 for his first strikeout. We told you earlier about Todd Frazier specifically in April. Here are the career numbers for the Sox in April and their career numbers overall. So Adam Eaton typically a little bit of a slow starter. Frazier as well, 232 versus 255 for his career batting average. In fact, just a couple of the Sox are above their career average with their April numbers. So you might expect a month like this to open the year.
Well, it really depends, actually. I mean, numbers are terrific, as we know, and there's a lot to quantify. It depends on what team you play for. Because you're coming out of spring training either in Florida or Arizona, and you've had wonderful weather. It's been very warm. It's been easy to hit, especially in Arizona. And then you come to a place where it's not so easy to hit. And that's either Chicago or, in the case of Avi, Detroit, or depending on where you come from. I mean, it's difficult. And a lot of guys have tough Aprils and then all of a sudden really turn it on because the weather gets better. So that is a big factor.
Strike 3, Santiago 3-pitch punch out of Avi Garcia, and 2 down. Cover all the bases for just $79 by purchasing an Abreu 4-pack. Each pack includes 4 upper box game tickets, 4 hot dog value meals without ketchup, and a parking pass. Abreu 4-packs are available now for all Thursday home games. Visit whitesox.com/Abreu to order yours today.
Funny you should mention ketchup because Bobby Bertucci came up, and of course he has just wonderful food, and you can enjoy that out in the patio along with Bobby, Bruno, and of course the very handsome Anthony. But he brought up a whole lot of things for us to eat. For me, ketchup on my hamburgers, and I will make that plural. For you, as many hot dogs as you can eat, but no ketchup on any of them.
Good. Ground ball to short. Andrelton Simmons, the overhand peg. Why don't you all grab a bite to eat, then join us for the 3rd inning. 5-0 Angels after 2 tonight. First inning, and they'll bat here in the third. Is that a full moon, Steve Stone? Do you have your...
It appears to be, yes. So if you in fact have any fear of werewolves, I would say bring a lot of garlic with you home.
Does that really repel werewolves? I thought that was just Dracula.
Oh no, both. Depending on if they have any werewolves with them, those Draculas that you keep talking about.
How many have you run into? We did have Warren Zevon playing pregame here at U.S. Cellular
really
Field.
Terrific. One of my favorites, by the way.
Warren Zevon?
Yes.
I think he's the best WZ frontman in American history.
Well, he hasn't done much lately, but yeah, he's pretty good.
Foul ball from Cole Calhoun, who singled against Carlos Rodon back in the first.
Calhoun really keeps getting better. He's very strong. The Angels could use him because they got a couple of guys in the middle hitting from the right side, and Trout and Pujols, they have to have a left-handed run producer. Calhoun is one of those, so he helps balance out the lineup. If nothing else in this game, and obviously it's hard to pick out positives early in this to this point, a long way to go, but Rodon had a tough time, no doubt about it. But Jake Petrichka, who had been struggling, came on, got the double play ground ball he had to get in the first inning, and a 1-2-3 second. So throwing the ball the way that everybody in this team knows he can throw it.
Into the shift and off of Rollins' glove. Lowry's there, not in time. Brett has been the pinball wizard. He had the ball go off of Reyu's glove to him in Tampa in this one.
Almost an outstanding play by Jimmy Rollins, and Brett Lowry, who has seemingly a nose for the baseball, able to get there. And you're right, the play he made in Tampa was terrific. And you have to anticipate. You have to go toward the baseball because you don't have anything to do on the play. You don't know it's going to be deflected, but if you're running toward it, sometimes it will find you.
Caught a single for Calhoun, and with the runner in motion, a slow chopper from Simmons, and no play for Jimmy Rollins.
Although they don't get a chance to do it too often, that's the kind of baseball that Mike Scioscia loves. Using the hit and run after an infield hit, just wants to make some contact, and then because of the speed of Simmons, Jimmy Rollins has no play at first, thinking he can get Calhoun rounding the bag carelessly. And unfortunately, Calhoun, realizing there was no play at first, does not round the bag carelessly.
Left with 2 on, nobody out for Giovanni Soto, who flashed a bunt, took a strike.
A lot of catchers who aren't used to bunting all that often will pop it up in this situation. You have to realize no protection for the base runners on a bunt. So if he does pop it in the air, you keep your eye on Soto, see if he's running, and maybe you can turn this into 2.
Was not pleased with that bunt.
Now he's stabbing at the ball, and you can tell a guy doesn't have real good technique. A guy who doesn't bunt too often.
And some folks might forget he was an all-star catcher back in 2008, put up some big numbers in the late 2000s. Oh, 0-2 from Petrichka. Still showing bunt on 2 strikes.
He was also named that year Rookie of the Year. He came out of the Cubs system and had a huge final year in the system before coming to the major leagues and really turning it on.
It's a good bunt with 2 strikes. Petrichka gets his footing. And the peg to first for out number 1. Calhoun to third, Simmons to second.
Well, with 2 strikes, that was a great bunt. All you're trying to do is get it in play. You get enough speed on the base paths where if you do make a decent bunt, you're going to move the runners up, and that's exactly what he did. Turned out to be a great bunt with the right foot of Petrichka. Trying to get some purchase, as it were, finally righting the ship and getting it to first base. So now the infield forced to come in at all 4 positions.
I wasn't prepared for the Maritime quiz
there you go.
This evening. Ground ball to third past Frazier. 6-0 Angels. Crone drives in Calhoun.
Drives in his first run of the year. And that is the benefit to a hitter of a drawn-in infield. No angle at all. Normally, this would be easily played by Frazier, but because he has no angle, he can't get to it. And the Angels starting to pull away.
You see the demeanor of Frazier over there. I mean, he's a guy that takes baseball, doesn't take himself terribly seriously, takes baseball really seriously, and is not in the finest of spirits in his 6-0 ball game the wrong way. In the air from Giavotella. Adam Eaton in right. Simmons declines to run on Eaton for out number 2. No sacrifice.
Adams got a very good arm, and he's getting more accurate as he gets more comfortable with the corner position. Was a center fielder most of his career. Shifting over to right, he says he feels much more comfortable out there, and he could always throw. Even though Simmons has very good speed, that ball just wasn't far enough to take off and get run out of the inning.
For the 3rd time tonight now, we see Yunel Escobar, the 3rd baseman for the Angels, who's 1 for 2. He came up twice in that first inning and ended the first with a 6-4-3 double play. Petrichka with a strike. Well, what's more important right now for Jake? To get through some innings with not many pitches and save the bullpen, or keep it 6-0 long term?
You'd love to do both, but innings are the important thing because you don't have any off days, and the last thing you want to do is run through that bullpen. Now, you do have somewhat of an option, and something that I think the Sox were probably entertaining was the idea of going to yet another pitcher because of the lack of off days. And
you mean adding one to the roster?
Yes.
Yeah.
And one of the things that becomes really difficult is if a couple of your starters don't go deep into the game, you just don't want to burn out the bullpen. We saw how effective a very good bullpen can be, because one of the big reasons why the Sox are playing .667 baseball is the fact that the bullpen has been giving up almost nothing.
And it's been put in pretty good situations by the starters
There's
as well.
no
Even
doubt.
in John Dank's rough first start, he went 5 innings, 6+ the next time. You have the faint smell of popcorn wafted into the booth here?
I do. Jake Petrichka, unlike Carlos Rodon, 9 of 10 first pitch strikes. A lot of people don't know that Escobar last year led all National League third basemen with a .314 batting average. Speaking of National League third baseman, you like what you've seen of Nolan Arenado?
That was just a self segue by you.
Well, yes.
I think, right? That was nice.
I'm going to use audible tweets here pretty soon.
2-2 on Escobar. Nolan Arenado with 2 homers yesterday in that finale against the Cubs.
It's absolutely amazing how good the young man is. He's wonderful defensively. You would have to say that probably Donaldson and Arenado, 2 of the best in their respective leagues, with Arenado maybe just a touch better defensively, so he would get the nod of the 2. Maybe a little more raw power for Donaldson. However, Arenado showed he's got some pretty decent power because they played at Wrigley Field. They didn't play in Colorado when he hit the 2 home runs.
Rollins to his left to scrape it up for out number 3. Angels do get 1 on 3 hits. We've played 2.5. Some climbing to do for the Sox. from their football compatriots here in Chicago, not the Bears, the Fire. Joey Calistri, Patrick Duty, Eric Gehrig, Michael Stevens were here. Deanna Navarro and Todd Frazier were flashing some soccer skills. And the surprise there is Brett Lawrie, who was a soccer player growing up, wasn't involved. He didn't get to play their reindeer games.
I would think that would be terrific, as you see the Fire wearing the Sox jerseys and the Sox wearing the Fire jerseys. Todd Frazier with a header.
You know your soccer lingo.
Oh, are you kidding? That's my middle name.
Soccer?
Yes.
The M stands for soccer. There's a strike, 1-1 to Austin Jackson.
Austin not off to the greatest start, but they've been timely hits, and he's played very strong defensively. They play him almost exactly straight up. And with all the defensive charts and the analytics, you would think there would be a bias, but there isn't.
Jackson's seen Santiago more than any Sox hitter in the lineup. He's 5 out of 23 against him career. Run the count to 3-1. In the air, first base side, foul territory. Pujols has no play.
Well, Albert Pujols is a lot like Jose Abreu in that he would prefer playing in the field to the designated hitter role. And what Jose Abreu talks about is that, look, if I go 0 for 4 and I'm a designated hitter, I can't help the team anyway but swinging the bat. But I can help the team if I'm in the field. Albert feels the same way. He also feels he can stay looser, and he plays a pretty good first base, even with the many injuries he's had later in his career.
Fastball got him. Santiago to 95, and that's his third punch out in the last 4 batters. White Sox fans, celebrate your Mexican heritage at the ballpark on May 5th with Cinco de Miller, presented by Miller Lite. White Sox are offering specially priced tickets to celebrate Cinco de Mayo, and the first 10,000 fans of the game get a t-shirt presented by the aforementioned Miller Lite. To purchase tickets, visit whitesox.com/Cinco.
You'll also get a chance to see Big Papi, David Ortiz, in his final season, and a youngster, Mookie Betts, who's just outstanding.
They've got some great young talent coming through. Xander Bogaerts.
Yeah, they do.
Travis Shaw won the third base spot.
Much to the dismay of Pablo Sandoval, yes, who is probably talking about perhaps a move.
Giavotella to first and 2 down.
Betra's a pretty solid player, and Sandoval came into camp. He wasn't in particularly good shape. He does have a shoulder issue, says he's going to see Dr. Andrews, who has been the specialist in Birmingham, Alabama for many years with both shoulders and elbows. He's a terrific surgeon.
He's also a renowned yachtsman, right? He's a boater. Dr.
Renowned.
Andrews, yeah.
I don't doubt it for a minute.
Everything he does, he's renowned for.
Well,
you're renowned for sweater vests.
You get Wednesdays off. You might as well go out boating. Lord knows there's a lot of water around Birmingham.
Yeah. When was the last time you were at a Barons game?
Cleveland Barons or the Birmingham Barons?
The AA club for the Sox?
Yeah, it's been a while.
Where Carson Fulmer's pitching tonight, by the way, in his third start.
Zach Putnam loosening in the pen, and we certainly hope that Carson Fulmer can right the ship. He's had a couple of bad outings, but boy, in spring training we saw a very talented young pitcher who's got to pick up some minor league innings, but there's no doubt he's going to be here. It's just a question of when.
You know, it was interesting what Robin said. He was asked this weekend about Carson Fulmer, and he said, look, whatever he's doing right now, that doesn't take away from what he did in spring training. We're happy with what he's done, and he'll announce to us when he's ready, essentially.
And there's a couple of other factors. I think Sox fans are kind of spoiled because Chris Sale spent almost no time in the minor leagues. Carlos Rodon, a little bit more, but very little time in the minor leagues. That's the rarity. That's not the norm. And so it takes most pitchers a few innings, get them under their belt, learn some of the lessons that professional baseball will teach you, and then you come to the major leagues.
2-2 for Rollins is inside. 3-2 from Santiago, who's pitched ahead all night after a 5-run first for the Angels.
And Jimmy did draw the walk in the first inning, so he does have the only walk. Jose Abreu in the on-deck circle would love to see the inning still alive when he gets a chance to hit.
Payoff pitch inside, ball 4, second walk for Rollins tonight. Well, getting to Santiago would be big news for the Sox tonight because the Angels used every one of their relievers yesterday in a 12-inning game at Minnesota.
There is no doubt that Mike Scioscia didn't have to tell Hector Santiago that he's going to be in there for a while, so it's best to get the ball over the plate early and try, if you can, to pitch to contact. Although he does have 3 strikeouts, he has 2 walks.
Strike 1 to Abreu, who singled to right back in the first.
That was a good off-speed breaking ball. He dropped over the outside corner in the outfield, shading him toward right center, with Gentry way off the line into left center field. And you look at Mike Scioscia, second on the career wins list in all of baseball. I believe only Bruce Bochy has 1 more games than that man you're looking at.
A couple of great active managers in the game right now.
And Vin Scully, who will be broadcasting in his final year with the Dodgers, said the Dodgers have made 2 huge mistakes, and one of them was allowing Mike Scioscia out of the organization to manage someplace else.
Shattered bat. Simmons the short way and just got the out on Rollins. Inning over. Sox get 1 on with a walk. Can't score. 6-0 after 3.
Beer Money, the trivia show that tests your sports knowledge in exchange for cash. The next taping is this Thursday at 6 o'clock at McDivitt's in Palos Park. Beer Money, presented by Coors Light. And I've got a piece of sports trivia for you.
You do?
Young man. Yes, indeed. It's going to be tough. I want you to get ready for this.
I will.
9 years ago today in White Sox history was a monumental occasion.
Yes.
And what was it?
It was.
Take your time.
I think I've got it, Steve Stone. I think I tweeted it earlier, actually.
Oh, no wonder. Well, I think I got it from somewhere.
I know it wasn't Twitter. I'm pretty sure it wasn't where you got it as Zach Putnam checks in and feeds over his strike. It was Mark Burley's no-hitter.
Way to go.
Yeah.
You get as much beer money as you can handle.
Do I get something off the prize shelf?
You do, actually.
Can I?
Yeah, we have a wonderful prize shelf here. You get to take your pick. I'm going to put my half-consumed Coke on it. It's cola, by the way, and you'll be able to get that. So we'll flash back to one of the most popular players in White Sox history, Mark Buehrle. Not only a no-hitter, but a perfect game to go with it. Mark Buehrle, just a wonderful man. And you look at his stuff, no-hitter and perfect game, pretty amazing.
First no-hitter in U.S. Cellular Field history as Gentry has not joined the party for the Angels tonight. He's 0 for 3. Here's an odd occurrence with the Buehrle no-hitter and perfect game. The same umpire had the plate for both of them, Eric Cooper.
Yes, I know that.
By the way, his umpire uniform number was 56. How about that?
That's Kafkaesque.
Yeah. Windy.
Wow.
Yeah.
He also is known as a man that has a fairly substantial plate.
You too at dinner time.
But there was another little oddity of the Mark Buehrle first no-hitter, and that was I was at that game as a spectator.
That is odd.
I was not working at the time. I was between jobs, as it were, or so to speak. And what happened was I was up in a luxury box with the then noted dentist, Jack Ruby.
And meanwhile, Buehrle's throwing this
no-hitter. But after 7 innings, I wanted to beat the crowd. So I left. And I didn't think it would hurt anything because I wasn't particularly superstitious about somebody else's no-hitter. And I had never seen a no-hitter as a professional. I'd never done a no-hitter. When I played, I never saw a no-hitter, never broadcast a no-hitter. And so I left, and Buehrle went on to have a no-hitter, proving conclusively that it had nothing to do with the luck. And also, much to the dismay of Jack Ruby, I left.
But he didn't leave. You didn't take him with you.
No, I didn't. Well, he stayed. He's one of the great Sox fans, except for tonight when he texted me that he was watching Dancing with the Stars when the Sox fell behind.
You got to watch that live, too. It's not good on DVR.
With a hashtag Fairweather fan, Ruby.
Well hit on the ground. Frazier holds the line across the diamond for round number 2.
Well, terrific play, and that's one of the things we've talked about with Todd Frazier is regardless of what he's doing offensively, and there's no doubt he's going to pick it up, but there's been no drop-off in the glove work. This down the line, good. First step quickness to his right. And Trout can run, but he can't outrun the arm of Frazier. Good, solid play.
So 2 down. Nobody out for Albert Pujols, who bounced out to short in the 2nd inning. You know, that's not the only thing I'm told that's happened this day in White Sox history.
I didn't think it was. White Sox have been around a long time.
First game at New Comiskey Park, now U.S. Cellular Field. Not a good day on the scoreboard. Tim Raines with 3 homers at Fenway Park as well. It's an important day in Sox history, April the 18th.
It has been that, yes.
Thank you for the certification.
Well, I mean,
can I have my prize off the shelf yet? We're answering your trivia question.
I thought you did an exceptional job. Had I known that you had tweeted it earlier, I would have never given you anything quite so easy.
Oh, so now that I got it right, it's easy. You're moving the goalposts.
Of course. But you will get your prize that you will be able to redeem at any DeMar's coffee shop of your choice.
Also available at Service Merchandise.
Now, we're eventually going to show our shelf that we have back here, which is outstanding, which has lots of surprise things, fun things that we will give to some fans.
Two and two on Pujols from Putnam. He got him, strike 3. 1-2-3 inning for Zach Putnam out of the bullpen. Sox still trailing by 6. A lot of time to go, though.
We will be giving some of them away, probably not to any of you, but with some of them away. We have a White Sox cap, beautiful. We have a plush bleacher creature.
Yeah.
That's the Jose Abreu in the middle, and of course, Chris Sale and his K counter, which last year counted a bunch of them.
If you hit the numbers, they move up and down. How about that?
It's terrific, as well as his shirt, by the way.
Yeah.
Which is for Shirt Day Thursdays. This is the first one. It's a beautiful green shirt.
Yeah, free T-shirt Thursday
Yes.
in honor of Earth Day. Those are eco-friendly shirts because they're green. In fact, while they were being made, it's 100% renewable energy credits in order to make them green.
Well, your carbon footprint is not all that big to begin with. I saw
It's
the
a little
car.
erratic
I saw
as
the
well.
car that you were driving, by the way. And now that you are going to park in the big guy lot, I mean, I know you went in forward as opposed to all of us who back in, but you can't hide the kind of car you have, that one-cylinder special that you have out there. So they encourage you to back in, and
I got it in rural Pennsylvania.
It definitely is. I believe that kind of gas, that 21 octane you use, is certainly healthy for Mother Earth.
Actually runs on creamed corn. 2-2. Strike 3. Fastball from Santiago. That's his 4th strikeout. Sox fans, our pregame patio parties are the best deal at the ballpark. You get a game ticket and all-you-can-eat buffet catered by Baseball Buffet, as well as wine and Miller beverages. Patio opens 90 minutes prior to the game, closes 30 minutes after the start of the game. And to purchase tickets, visit whitesox.com/group. I got to ask you, did the parking attendant in the lot put you up to that comment?
No.
Are you sure?
No, he's a very good friend of mine. He just let me know because, you know,
he did.
You're kind of, well, no, I could, you parked next to me, so I could actually see that vehicle. There was no hiding on your part.
Because he actually said to me as I was pulling in, he didn't recognize the car, and he said, "What can I help you with?" Well, I even would rather not. He said, "You got to get a better car."
Yeah.
As I drove by.
If you're going to be here.
Duck.
Oh, yeah, he was driving a Bentley, so I assumed that he thought your car was a little substandard.
Ball and a strike on Cabrera. 1 out in the 4th. I'd like to welcome all of our viewers watching on Park TV and Electronics in Cissna Park, Illinois, where they all have fantastic automobiles.
They do indeed.
Cissna Park, Illinois. Still tuned in, feeling a rally.
Well, here's one of the things that is a little tough against Hector Santiago this year. BABIP, which is
BABIP,
batting average of balls in play, is just 179 against right-handers, which is remarkable for a left-handed pitcher.
Melky gives it a ride to right field, but not long enough. Out number 2.
I've actually found a whole new world now that we have partnered up, because you have explained to me a little bit about the statistical world, sabermetrics as it were, and you introduced me to YouTube and a number of other things that I find absolutely remarkable.
Equally as advanced, by the way, BABIP and YouTube.
Exactly right. But that's when you look at numbers that quantify how a pitcher is doing, that's terrific. And a fastball at 94, that's the average fastball at 94, by the way. He's gotten it up there 95 and reached 96 on one pitch, I believe. So Hector has thrown the ball pretty well tonight.
Check swing, and a ball and a strike on Brett Lawrie. We were talking to the Angels guys before the game, and they said Santiago's added a couple miles an hour, reaching back, throwing it even a little bit harder this year than in the past.
He's always had a good arm. We remember that from his time here with the White Sox. But one of the things, when you throw a lot of screwballs, you're taking away your velocity, because like sprinters will tell you, if you're going to run fast, you have to run fast. If you're going to throw hard, you have to practice actually throwing hard. I think Santiago is doing more of that now.
95, 2-2 on Lawrie, who struck out on 6 pitches back in the 2nd. Angels came in 5-7, game and a half back of Texas in the West, who the Sox will see coming up at the end of this homestand. And down goes Laurie on the first strikeout, looking for Mr. Santiago tonight. 4 deep at U.S. Cellular this evening.
Forward to Miller time later in the game, brought to you by Miller Lite.
We'll do that.
We will look
Somebody
forward
will
to
take
it.
you up on that. It is inning number 5 here at U.S. Cellular Field, and most of the damage was done in the first inning. The Angels batted around. 10 Angels came to the plate. 6 put up hits, 2 walks, double play and a strikeout. Cole Calhoun was involved. He's 2 for 2.
5 straight hits in the first inning. Eventually chasing Carlos Rodon. Since then, the bullpen has taken over. Petrichka with 2 2/3, a run on 3 hits. Didn't walk anybody, which is a really good sign. Zach Putnam came on for a very solid 4th inning. 1, 2, 3, 4th with a strikeout.
Two and 0 from Putnam. 3 more with the Angels starting tomorrow. 2 day games at the end of this set on Wednesday and Thursday. Then a weekend series with the Rangers. There's an Angels and Sox fan getting along in the stands. Nice to see.
The Angel fan obviously tweeting you.
Is that what everybody's doing on their phone?
They are now. Yeah.
You can tweet Steve at Steve Stone. He will receive it after a series of maneuvers through Omaha, Nebraska, among other places.
The clearinghouse.
He'll see it in about 4 years.
No, I beg to differ with you, mon frere.
You've been working on that French.
I have.
That's good. You can tweet us at Steve Stone or at Jason Benetti. Shouldn't it be in alphabetical order?
It should be, but it's not.
It's in your contract. Reverse alphabetical for everything.
Exactly right. Especially for tweets.
3-1 to Calhoun. And he swung through that one. 2 for 2 tonight. Came in at .349 with a .404 on base and a .488 slugging percentage. 3 doubles and a homer so far this season.
Scored a couple of runs, and the one driven in the first inning. Andrelton Simmons 2 for 2. So he's had a big night.
3-2 from Putnam. Got him, strike 3 in the outside half. Join us for Dia de la Familia at U.S. Cellular Field, where the White Sox face the Texas Rangers on Saturday, April 23rd. First 20,000 fans get a Jose Abreu plush bleacher creature presented by Total Performance Engine Oils. Visit WhiteSox.com to purchase your tickets today. Total
Engine oil and other lubricants. It's a big company.
First pitch here to Simmons, speared by Abreu for out number 2.
So
the second largest solar energy operator.
Yes, that's one of the reasons why we have this green shirt for T-shirt Thursdays.
And the Abreu plush doll on our prize shelf. You can win by doing unspecified things so far.
True. 5 up, 5 down in the meantime for Zach Putnam, who's thrown it very well.
Giovanni Soto takes ball 1. One ball, one strike from Putnam. Giovanni Soto, the PCL MVP in the year 2007. He was the first catcher to win that award since Sandy Alomar Jr. in 1988 and 89.
Eventually, I want you to look up his numbers that year, because I'll tell you, going into that year, he was a .249 lifetime hitter. He averaged 4 3/4 home runs a year and averaged 49 runs batted in. And then take a look at the numbers that year. They will jump out at you.
2-2 from Putnam to Soto, who's 1 for 1 with a sacrifice bunt.
In those days, I was following a lot of minor league performers, and that was an anomaly because he had been a good hitter, but not to that extent.
Yeah, the 89 season, 33 doubles, 8 triples, 13 homers. That's inside. 3-2. 306, 474 slugging.
Yes.
Came out of nowhere. I mean, the year before that, even the other MVP year, 9 doubles, 5 triples, 16 homers. Not even close. 3-2. Left side, Frazier is on top of it once again, and the one-hopper is there for out number 3. Todd Frazier showing the glove again in a 1-2-3-5 for Putnam. with you. We'll see you in the studio coming up shortly, or maybe in a long while if the Sox put together a rally. Avi Garcia takes strike number one as Hector Santiago has given up just the one hit and a Abreu single back in the first.
Well, Hector's been sailing right along.
0-2.
Last year he was 9-9. And it probably was a little bit better than it looks at 500, but his ERA was 3.59 in 32 starts. That's pretty good. Gave up 156 hits in 180 and 2/3 innings and fanned 162 guys. So he threw the ball very well. Didn't have a lot to show for it. 500 is okay, but he threw a whole lot better than that.
Strike three on Garcia.
That high fastball thrown right by him, and that's one of the things he has got to lay off, because at 93, 4 or 5, you're not going to be able to touch it up there.
Hey, White Sox fans, celebrate your Italian roots with Italian Heritage Night, presented by Beggar's Pizza, when the Sox take on the Twins Friday, May 6th. Italian Heritage Night will feature specially priced tickets and a post-game fireworks show. To purchase tickets, visit whitesox.com/Italy.
I don't know if you're aware of this, but Beggar's Pizza, they lay it on thick.
And that's what I've heard.
Just in case.
Will you be making your special Alfredo sauce for Italian Heritage Night? How about that?
There you go.
It's also the slogan for Steve Stone's Wit.
No, I will not be making my famous Alfredo sauce.
2-1 on Deontay Navarro, who bounced out to short last time.
Previous 4 seasons, as you can see, things about the same. I mean, he's been a pretty good pitcher without a whole lot of acclaim. But it's tough to pick up the baseball. I mean, he's kind of a short armor, and he's got good velocity.
That FIP, by the way, is fielding independent pitching, which is measured essentially like ERA, but it tries to take out the quote-unquote luck of fielding in measuring somebody's earned run average or like number.
Luck or bad luck.
Or bad luck, good luck, whatever it might be. Yeah. So it measures the true outcomes, as they say, home runs, strikeouts, walks, very heavily. 3-2 from Santiago. Navarro went after one high, strike 3, 2 down.
Seven strikeouts for Hector Santiago, and a lot of them have been like that. Pitches out of the zone.
Two out for Austin Jackson. Here's another strike one from Santiago. Tomorrow, Matt Shoemaker, Matt Latos, Garrett Richards, Chris Sale in the marquee pitching matchup of this series. That's Wednesday, a 1:10 start on WGN. Then the final game, Jared Weaver and John Danks before getaway day for the Angels. Sox will stay home to face the Rangers. So what do you do in the dugout? You're down 6-0, right?
Right.
5th inning.
Mm-hmm.
What's the best kind of demeanor in the dugout at this point?
Let's get a couple of runs and get closer. And that's really the thing you're thinking about. You're not trying to get it all back at once, because a 6-run inning is a bit unrealistic, although the Angels had 5 in the first. But if you can get a couple, and you'd love to get Santiago out of there and get into the bullpen, especially after you mentioning yesterday they ran through all of their pitchers in a 12-inning game. That would be the best thing you could possibly think about.
2-2, down 3-2.
Sox at this point have 100 strikeouts. Conversely, the Angels have 71. So the Angels have put the ball in play for the most part. And we were in Minnesota with the Twins. They were talking about their lack of contact, which was on a historic pace. The Sox not quite there yet, but they haven't made a whole lot of contact recently.
To third, oh my goodness, Escobar. Wow. That is a whale of a play by Yunel Escobar to end the 5th.
This is about as good as it gets because there was a lot of topspin on that one, and when it hit, it went even higher. Escobar stays with it, throws it in the dirt. The good pick at first base by Albert, and that's it. We'll move to the 6th. It's 6-0. Series with the Blues in a pivotal Game 4. Coverage begins at 8 o'clock with Chevy Blackhawks pregame live on CSN Chicago. Blackhawks playoff hockey is brought to you by Volvo. And that's a game that the Blackhawks dearly need.
Blues got the win in Game 3. Most folks might be tweeting about it right now. Sox and Hawks fans living in harmony. Phones at their side. Brett Lawrie and the defense take the field one more time, trailing 6-0, a 5-run first. And, you know, it could have been less. There was an error involved, but the Angels really squared up Carlos Rodon for the better part of that inning.
Well, they started out allowing him to get himself in trouble in that he wasn't getting the ball over the plate. And it wasn't just the 2 walks of Trout and Pujols. It was the fact that for the most part, the whole inning, he was behind Angel hitters, and so eventually having to come to them, they made contact, a lot of it good, some of it bad, but all the contact seemed to find a place to nestle in safely.
Zach Putnam, who came in the 4th, drops that one low. The good news, if you can extract some good news for Carlos Rodon, is they were all singles. I mean, it was death by 1,000 paper cuts as opposed to the big extra base hit, so he does still have a 12-inning streak of not allowing an extra base hit to his name. Crone to right, Eaton retreating, and it's out of play.
I don't know if you were able to get a hold of one of these 2016-17 White Sox calendars with.
I think you took mine.
Yes, that's why I didn't know if you were able to get a hold of one. And they do have all of the games. It's really a nifty calendar.
Next time we show the prize shelf, We're going to put that up on the prize shelf if we can.
Yes, if we can find one for you, we will.
I can't use yours?
I'm keeping this one.
It is a nice calendar.
No,
2-1 on Chrome.
Does not have the makeup doubleheader, but outside of that, it is full and complete. You would love to have one of these.
I would. I am a calendar aficionado. Me and Neil Sedaka. 2-2 on Chrome, whose father Chris was very briefly a Chicago White Sox. 10 at bats worth.
He realized the dream. He got to the major leagues, which is, even for professional players, a long shot. A lot of people think you become a professional player, you're automatically playing in the big leagues. That's not the case. Very difficult to do. Just get here and then stay here.
Scoop to center. Jackson there for out number 1. 7 in a row retired by Putnam since his entry.
And this is one of the things that Robin and Don Cooper will be grateful for. In a game that saw the Sox fall behind early, Petrichka with 2 2/3, 3 hits, just the 1 run, and Putnam so far 2 1/3, nothing for the Angels. So you're not going to go through the entire bullpen.
Johnny Giavotella is 1 for 2, and he takes ball 1. Time now for America's fastest growing sensation, where we quiz Steve on his own career. It's called Sticks and Stone, and the question is, how'd you do against Reggie Jackson?
Well, see, this isn't particularly fair, and I'll tell you why. Reggie piled up a lot of these enormous numbers where he wore other uniforms other than the Angels.
Sure.
Yes, like the Yankees, certainly. And so he hit a lot of home runs.
Giavotella deep to left. Cabrera at the wall. He's got room. 2 down. Here are some of those Reggie Jackson numbers.
Yes, they make me nauseous.
Here they come.
Okay.
Let's flash back.
Wow, look at those uniforms. Oh, you're looking at, I told you, he's in a Yankee uniform, and he hit one that was in the upper deck in right center field. It was an enormous home run.
7 for 12.
Yes.
Steve Areno.
Until I started walking him. As you can see, eventually I got smart. I struck him out only 1 time, but I walked him 8 times in 20 plate appearances. So I figured, look, in this case, he was much better than I was, so I would put him on and take my chances with whoever hit next.
Well, the base is empty sometimes.
Well, whatever. No, I wouldn't let him hurt me.
To third. Oh, Todd Frazier is there again. He has thieved hit after hit tonight from the Angels. 6-0. Bottom 6 next. Jason Benetti, Steve Stone, our entire crew. The Angels put up a nickel in the first, and that has been enough to this moment with Eaton, Rollins, and Abreu to bat. in the 6th inning against old friend Hector Santiago. There is strike one to Eaton.
He's really got a lot of mileage out of that high fastball, and most of them have been out of the strike zone. So Santiago, in his 3rd start, throwing the ball by far the best of any of them.
Eaton to right center. Long run for Trout. It's over his head and over the wall on a hop. Adam doesn't want to stop.
Well, he probably should go back to second, although he would just as soon take the home run trot, but he crushed that ball, and Trout, with very good speed, couldn't get to it. This is one of the few curveballs that Santiago has thrown, and Adam Eaton put a charge into it. He is very strong.
A new member of the Emerald Club on one hop. A double for Eaton.
And pick your own card. You can be in control.
Well, last time I chose my own car, I got ripped for it on television.
Wasn't a good choice.
So here's Rollins, who's walked twice. Sox struggled to get the leadoff man on in that series in Tampa, and tonight they have the very first leadoff man aboard.
Well, here's how you got to go after it, and that is find one way or another to score Adam Eaton. You still got a while to go. You still got a tired bullpen for the Angels, and Santiago's been in control all night long.
0-1. Big hole right side of the infield. Yeah, that's flared foul by Rollins. 0-2.
Jimmy trying to go that way, trying to move Adam Eaton along, so he got a pitch away and went that way.
Eaton at second, nobody out. 0-2. Foul again, right hand side. You said earlier, get a couple runs. Get one, get two. 6th inning, it's starting to get late early, though.
Well, look, you've got to put a little pressure on them. So far, the Sox have been unable to do that. They had 2 on, 1 out in the 1st inning, but a fly out by Frazier and a line drive by Melky. Had that one found the corner, might have been 2 bases and a run at least. And after getting off the hook, pitching his way out, Santiago's been awfully good after that.
Down 1-2.
That was probably the closest that Hector's gotten to a screwball tonight. Acting more like a straight change. Seems like he's got better command than he ever had when he was throwing the screwball.
Went fastball high and struck him out. 8th punch out for Santiago. First out of the 6th inning. Fans experience Levy Restaurant's fine dining and service from the First Merit Bank Stadium Club. Memberships are available to season ticket holders and open before, during, and after every home game. First Merit Bank Stadium Club, also perfect for non-game day events, including weddings and corporate parties. For more information, call 312-674-1000.
Let me give you the other half of that.
Why, thank you. You've been learning from Joe Grube, who's in here handing me things from one side and you from the other.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he does a remarkable job up here.
He does. He currently, I think, is listening to some Warren Zevon. He's got the headphones plugged in. Oh, he's listening to us.
Oh,
through
a likely
earbuds.
story. I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to tweet this. Here's my first audible tweet. Joe Grube is the proud father of 3 new cats.
They
is that how that works?
They created their own kiddie water park, from what I heard earlier today. 1 strike to Abreu. Down 1 ball and 1 strike. Eaton at second with a leadoff double here in the 6th. Bad news for the Twins, by the way. The Sox and Angels just saw Trevor Plouffe. Likely, the report is, to go on the DL at third base for Minnesota.
Intercostal muscle, not to be confused with the intercoastal area of Florida. But you get one of those, you do go on the DL because you can stay sore for a long time. And Plouffe was just really starting to swing the bat pretty well. So they lose a good third baseman, but it does give them an opportunity to take a guy unfamiliar with right field and most likely move him back to third base, and that's Miguel Sano, who was a lifetime third baseman. To keep his bat in the lineup, and it is a huge bat, they put him into right field. It's not that he has played poorly, it's just that he's not a right fielder type guy. Now they can take somebody off their bench, maybe Oswaldo Arcia, put him in right field, and they can allow Sano to play a position he probably is going to play. When he goes there, he'll stay there for a long time because he can really swing it.
And you said they do have depth, talent-wise, in the outfield. Max Kepler, who I know you really were impressed by. 1-2, Santiago to Abreu, and a fastball turns him inside out. Strike 3, 2 down.
That's one of the few that Hector has been able to throw by Sox hitters down in the zone. Boy, he is not only lighting up the radar gun. I mean, it's 95, which is a very good major league fastball, but it looks much faster to the hitters because he is a short armor, and the average speeds, he's averaging 94 miles an hour. The cutters 87, the changeup 85, curveball, the slider, the knuckleball, the forkball, the five-fingered changeup, the
bell of the ball.
He's got a bunch of them. Anyway, whatever he's thrown tonight, it's been real good.
You've said before that you're looking for about an 11-mile-an-hour difference between the changeup and the fastball.
Ideally, 10, 11 miles an hour. If you can do that, usually you've got guys properly off balance.
He's looking at 9 miles an hour different tonight as Frazier hacks that one foul. 1-1 on Todd Frazier.
9 is certainly good enough if you hit your spots with it. In fact, it's just about anything is good enough if you hit your spots and they're not hitting it.
He's short of 100 pitches through 5 2/3. 1-1. Upstairs, 2-1 on Frazier, who has been sparkling tonight defensively at third.
Well, it's been remarkable as good as he's been defensively. But right here is when you'd love to see a base hit and the first run of the ball game score, because Adam Eaton's in scoring position. Leadoff double, and he stayed right there.
3-1 on Frazier, and Robin Ventura said it after the game yesterday. He said, look, sometimes Todd might be pressing right now, and he's got to believe and understand that we like him. We know what he can do. He's here. We accept him. He doesn't need to press.
That is real easy to say and really tough if you're the guy coming to a new team, trying to show them that you can live up to the numbers you put on the board last year. He realizes the second half was tough for him, so he wants to come back and show all of his teammates that not only can he play defense, but that he's a good hitter, and he is that. He's also going to drive in a lot of runs, but so far it just hasn't been going well for him.
Couple of homers, 6 RBIs, 4 hits on the road trip. That's inside ball 4, and a good sign for Todd Frazier, who is on for the first time tonight. I know it's a small thing, right? And people are saying, well, he's a big power hitter, he's got to put up those numbers. It starts with getting on base.
That's the first part of it, is taking your walks, because when you're in a slump, it's a natural tendency to expand your strike zone and try to get it all back on a couple of at-bats, and you can't really do that. So if a guy's not going to throw it in the zone, you might as well take it, go to first base. And Melky, who hit the ball very well the first time up, with an opportunity now with 2 men on.
Very durable outfielder with 113 games plus. All but 1 year since 2006. Batting predominantly in the 5 spot this year for the Sox. And he takes ball one. The Sox are waiting out Santiago here in the 6th. Popped it up. The rush is on. Who's got it? Giavotella climbing the hill. Inning over, 2 stranded for the Sox. They've left 5 through 6.
And it's the defense of Todd Frazier tonight. He's been brilliant at third. This backhanded into foul territory, gets it across in time. This one to the other side, to his left. Gets it across in a nice pick by Jose. That time, again, going to his left, and he's played a remarkable third base. So Dan Jennings comes into the ball game. He's on for the 3rd time. He hasn't given up anything yet. 4 innings, couple of hits, 4 strikeouts, nary a walk. And so pretty good pensmanship out of Jake Petrichka, who went 2 1/3, was summoned in the 1st inning in relief of Carlos Rodon. And then Zach Putnam, terrific. 3 innings. He faced 9 men. He fanned 2 of them. And it was 3 perfect innings.
It's a great outing by Putnam.
Yes, sir. Again, a couple of guys that really needed some good innings out of the pen, got them in Petrichka and Putnam.
That is a high strike 1 to Gentry, who is 0 for 3 so far today. He is the only Angel starter to not reach base. Oh, 2.
At one point, he was part-time center fielder with the Texas Rangers. Platooning with Martin in center. Martin, left-hand hitter, very good outfielder. Gentry, a real burner in center field. He could go get him.
Checked his swing on a ball down low. The story goes he was a track and field champion in high school and a tremendous baseball athlete as well. And the baseball state semifinals were on the same day as the state track and field championship. And the coach.
Wait a second. Before you say this, I'm at the edge of my chair to see which he picked.
Ah, but that is the wonder of being the big man on campus, because his coach knew somebody with a private plane.
Wow.
And flew him back and forth. And the Fort Smith Christian High School won titles in both track and field and baseball that season.
That's pretty impressive.
That is the All-American high school athletic story. Busted him inside, 2-2 on Gentry. And again, as the lore goes, he finished the track and field championship and he was out of energy, totally zapped. So he was curled up in the ball in the car, and the baseball coach drives him to the baseball game and says, "Can you go?" He says, "Yep." Gets out of the car and he's raring to go. Breaking ball fouled away by Gentry. Nobody ever flew you from place to place in high school, did they?
They used to fly me out of most places. Actually, my catcher in college was a gentleman who probably was ticketed to the Hall of Fame, but he died in a plane crash, Thurman Munson.
Yeah.
And he invited me to play with his team from Akron, Canton, in a championship played in Battle Creek, Michigan.
Okay.
Not sure what level it was, but I was in college, as was he. They flew me up there, and with the bases loaded, I got picked off second base by the catcher.
Oh.
We lost. He flew me back begrudgingly.
Were no pinch runners allowed in that league? Why were you on base?
Because I was pitching, and I got on base because they had a miraculous bat, which I translated into a 100 batting average in the major leagues. Triple digits, mind you, 100.
You used one of your 3 wishes that day.
And
rubbed the lamp and
they
singled to right.
Very happy to bring me to a championship tournament, only to see me picked off and taken out of the inning. I wanted to dig a hole at second and never come up.
2-2 for Gentry. Fouled away again.
Pretty good battle between Jennings and Gentry.
This will be number 10 on the way. If he gets to 15, he gets something off our prize shelf.
We have to add to this because it's a little sparse at this point.
Yeah. Well, you got 4 items and your Coke periodically.
True.
2-2 from Jennings. Frazier right there at the boundary. Abreu anchored himself. Nicely done.
Boy, good play by Jose at first base because that throw was off the mark. He had to lean into foul territory, see the ball through the base runner, and keep his foot on the bag. And Chris Conroy said he did all of those. Take a look at Jose as he leans toward the dugout. And absolutely had just enough of his foot on the bag, maybe, but good enough.
Doubt Mike Scioscia is going to challenge that.
Probably not at this point.
And here's Trout. Oh my, that is some strength right there. Just flicked it into right field.
First hit of the night for Mike Trout. As this one down and in. He's able to just muscle this out to right field. Again, he loves the ball down. That's really the spot for him, although not that far inside. He couldn't get a whole lot of the bat on it, but it was enough.
He's on for the second time, and Albert Pujols with his 562 career home runs standing in. Strike one. Carlos Rodon tonight, a third of an inning, 6 hits, 5 earned runs. Jake Petrichka, Zach Putnam have combined for 5 2/3 to eat up some innings for this Sox bullpen, which won't have an off day until early May. Along with the rest of the team, there's no off day built in. 19 consecutive games without one. That's barring any rainouts. Possibly.
That base hit by Trout, the first since Cron's base hit in the 3rd inning.
That brought home the most recent run. 1-out RBI single for Cron. How long does it typically take a bullpen to get back fully centered, on track after a game like this where you have to eat up so many innings?
I think it really depends on what happens tomorrow night.
Ball smoked, foul. Nice play by a fan in traffic. Don Cooper's the man in charge of that. The bullpen management. Long-time pitching coach.
Yeah, certainly a very good one, and understanding just exactly what it takes. So tomorrow night, Matt Shoemaker against Matt Latos, and Matt Latos, after 2 very strong outings, will be looking for another lengthy outing tomorrow night.
He's gone 6 each of the first 2. 3-2. We will learn the age-old question: is 1 T better than 2? We'll finally get the answer to that tomorrow night with Matt Shoemaker, M-A-T-T, and Matt Latos, M-A-T.
You don't find many single T Mats.
Rare as the day.
Shoemaker 1-1, his ERA at 6. But last time out, threw the ball pretty well.
By the way, that game tomorrow, another 7:10 start time, that'll be on WPWR. Then we shift over to WGN on Wednesday, and then back here to CSN Chicago on a Thursday for the series finale. Jared Weaver, John Danks. 3-2. Vaulted high in the air. Abreu for out number 2. Enjoy a picnic in the outfield of U.S. Cellular Field. Meet 2016 White Sox team members and talk to White Sox alumni. Join us Saturday, June 25th for Picnic in the Park. All proceeds benefit White Sox charities. To purchase tickets, visit whitesoxcharities.org. Will you be there, Steve?
I'm trying to clear my schedule at this point.
You're booked that far out, huh?
Oh, yes.
Connect 4 games.
Even further out than that. By the way, the oddity of this series is 2 day games in the middle of the week, Wednesday and Thursday.
That one gets away from Navarro, and Trout advances to second. We will see what the scoring is on that. Looked like it clipped the glove of Navarro.
We'll take a look at where he's sitting. He's sitting outside. That looks to me like a pass ball, but we'll have to wait and see what Bob Rosenberg says, and it is indeed a pass ball. Well, even after being gone a week, Rosie is absolutely at the top of his game.
Well, that's long-time baseball focus.
He does a lot of games. He has done a lot of games, not only baseball, but basketball. There's Bob Rosenberg. He's a funny guy.
He enjoys a good pass ball, doesn't he?
Oh, he really does. I tell you what. Rosie's 90. He looks terrific for 90, doesn't he?
You're always on hand with a compliment. We love most about you. Dan Jennings to Cole Calhoun with Trout at second, 2 down. Angels batting in the 7th, leading on the strength of a 5-run first, and that one's indoors to Calhoun, 2-0. 9 hits tonight for the Angels before this half inning, a 10th in the 7th. 6 of those hits came in the first.
And with a man at second base, Jimmy Rollins can't play Calhoun as he has, which is playing him on the first base side of second. So it's a modified shift with Laurie well back at second base on the grass.
3-0 on Calhoun with Simmons on deck. By the way, great news out of New York today. Jacob deGrom, who was in kind of touch and go status with his newborn. The reports are that he's taking the child home. So good news for Jacob deGrom and the Mets. 3-0. Green light.
You can understand that, knowing you're going to get a fastball as Todd runs out of room, hits the tarp, bounds out of play.
But isn't that one of those unwritten rules? 3-0, you're up 6.
No. you might as well let your hitter swing at a fastball if he gets it. What I always felt with the idea of, especially 6 runs in this day and age of baseball, you look over at the manager, the other manager, and say, if you promise not to score, I will promise not to play offense any longer.
Steve Spurrier won a lot of football games doing the same thing down in Gainesville. Running them up.
Running them up. Different than when you were looking for rankings.
Laurie on the outfield grass retires the side. 1-out single for Trout. No harm done. Stretch time in Chicago. He's held the Sox scoreless to 2 hits through 6, and he faces 6, 7, 8 in the order. Laurie, Garcia, and Navarro. In the 7th inning, former Sox left-hander Santiago. A fastball for Laurie, strike 1. Brett 0 for 2 with his 7-game hit streak possibly on the line here if the Sox went in order the next 9 batters.
Hector Santiago is getting a lot of mileage out of that higher than high fastball, the fastball that is just out of the zone. The only thing you can do with it is pop it up if you make any contact.
2-strike pitch. Well, what's your best bet as a hitter with that ball there? You just have him miss with it?
You just have to lay off it. And I mean, if they call a strike on it, they call a strike, but that's not a pitch you can hit real well.
Three strikeouts today for Laurie, 10th strikeout for Santiago. We remind you that MLB.TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service, delivers every out-of-market game live in HD on over 400 supported devices. It includes a free subscription to @Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV for details. That is my home away from home while you guys are on the road. I am sitting in my living room with you all on the app.
Boy, it's a great app too, because you can see everything. You can get all the highlights. You can see disputed plays. You can see pitching performance. See anything you want associated to any game you might want to see, and you can see every game you want to see. So terrific for you baseball fans.
While you were on the plane back from Tampa yesterday, I was clicking around, watched the Royals finish off their loss with Oakland, saw the Angels lose in 12 innings on the walk-off for the Twins.
Twins winning again, by the way.
Tonight?
Yeah, they are winning 7-4 against Milwaukee. That game in the bottom of the 6th.
That's old-timey AL battle there.
It is. And Minnesota's got 14 hits to go with those 7 runs. So they found whatever they were missing offensively against these Angels, and they're still swatting the baseball.
Javi Garcia, some muscle to center. Trout on the drift and short of the warning track. Squeezes out number 2.
One of the things we keep hearing that pitching coaches are using, and you hear every few years there's a different saying that they use to get across to their pitchers what they want them to do, and that is changing eye levels. You're hearing a lot about that lately, and you're seeing how effective it is when you can throw your changeup down and then throw high fastballs, and that's exactly what Santiago's done most of this night. That's what's made Jose Quintana as good as he's been, because he'll throw the ball down, throw the breaking ball inside, and then throw the face-high fastball, and you see a lot of hitters swing through it. Now, he doesn't throw as hard as Santiago, but he's been just as effective, probably more so most of the time. Santiago tonight has been absolutely brilliant using his stuff and using upstairs.
Going the opposite way, Navarro. Pujols off the bag. Creates out number 3. Smoothly done by Albert and Santiago. It's a 1-2-3 inning for the lefty, and we're through 7 this evening.
Light, and it's the night of Hector Santiago, and it's been awfully good. He was at a jam in the first inning, but Melky Cabrera lining out to get him out of that inning without giving up any runs, and then a cornucopia of high fastballs, low changeups, and all in all, Santiago has been in command, and Melky, for the second time, popping one up. Giovitella putting it away, getting out of the 6th inning, and so what a night for Hector Santiago as Dan Jennings goes to work. The bullpen has been very effective. Carlos Rodon got knocked out in the 1st, and Petrichka, Putnam, and now Jennings thrown it well.
To this point, considering you have your starter go a third of an inning, the fact that the Sox and Don Cooper and Robin Ventura have not used any of their, at least so far this season, 7th, 8th, 9th inning guys is the headline news. At least for the bullpen.
Been pretty impressive out of the pen, and I would say if you're out there on the mound and you're facing the man you're looking at, Andrelton Simmons, you can pretty much throw it up there and be assured that if it stays in the park, he's going to be swinging, because he does not have a walk this year. So he of the swinging Simmons.
The famed clan.
Yeah.
In the air and foul right side, 1-2. We told you earlier that it's the 9-year anniversary of Mark Burley's no-hitter, first ever no-hitter here at U.S. Cellular Field. You know, this day in 1981 was the start of the longest game in baseball history, a 33-inning deal in AAA. Did you ever hear about that?
I heard that it was very long.
Yeah, lengthy.
lengthy is right.
Played over a couple separate days. I believe Wade Boggs played in that game, among other possible luminaries. Cal Ripken Jr. as well.
33 innings.
The losing pitcher was father of Jason Grilly, Steve Grilly. Remember Steve Grilly?
I do remember Steve Grilly. He was famous for losing long games.
Molto famous. Fouled away by Simmons. We'll hang at 1-2. 6 runs for the Angels tonight, 5 across in the first.
They got themselves a good one when they got Simmons at shortstop. He had 265 last year for Atlanta. He's just known for unbelievable range and as strong an arm as there's been in baseball in a long time.
Up and out from Jennings, 2-2 on Andrelton Simmons, with Soto on deck and C.J. Cron to follow.
He has gone deeper into his at-bats this year than anybody in the major leagues without a walk.
50 plate appearances, no walks.
Well, Kevin Pillar, the fine center fielder of the Toronto Blue Jays, who we'll be seeing on the next road trip, walked this afternoon, much to the dismay of the Pillar family. But now Simmons has the lead by himself.
That was the Blue Jays game in Boston on Boston Marathon Day, on Patriots Day. They always have that game. And the Angels, they've got Daniel Nava on the disabled list, who played for a bunch of seasons with the Red Sox. Nava just put on the DL with a knee problem a couple of days ago. Fouled away again. And he's had some big hits, right? I mean, in that first game, people will remember, but he had the game-winning homer in the Red Sox first game after the Boston Marathon bombings of Daniel Nava. And hearing him talk about it after the game, he's extremely choked up, still remembers that day. A hero in Boston, Daniel Nava. 3-2 again from Jennings. Down the right field side, and this is inside the line of fair ball, and off the carom, Eaton plays it in. A double for Simmons to lead off the 8th.
Well, you had to figure the fact that he hadn't walked in 50 appearances that he was going to be swinging. And this time he did, slicing it just inside the line, and then an easy 2 bases for a guy who can run.
You may or may not believe this, but that's the first extra base hit tonight for the Angels.
I believe it.
You do.
I've seen each and every one of their baseballs falling all over the lot.
Ball 1 to Soto, who singled in the first, sacrificed himself in the third, and bounced out to third in the 5th.
Greg Mahle squatting in the pen. He'll be throwing soon, I believe.
Looks like it.
Everybody has a different way to warm up.
Was that your warm-up of choice?
No.
Standing idly?
I was a very, very bad pensman. Starting pitcher, I did okay. When they shuttled me to the pen, it wasn't pretty.
You're a better hitter than reliever, is what you're saying.
Well, not a real good hitter and not a good pensman. I did have 1 career save, however. Then they never trusted me again. That's how impressive it was.
Why ruin a great thing? 2-2. Shot through the left side. Giovanni Soto with another hit. Runners at the corners here in the 8th. Well, it looks as though the Sox are going to wake up tomorrow morning a half game back of Kansas City in the Central. Royals off today, came in at 8-4 in a dead heat, and what looks like at least 12 games in, right? You know, we're making a judgment on a couple weeks, but it looks like it may be the toughest division in the American League.
Well, you would think so, because Kansas City is a very good team. As long as that bullpen holds up, they're going to stay a very good team. Detroit has been playing good, solid baseball. And Minnesota can hit the ball.
Crone through the right side. 7-0 Angels. That was a good piece of hitting with a gap on the right side of the infield. C.J. Crone's third hit.
Only time he was out tonight was a line drive leading off the 6th inning. So he squibs this ball through the right side, drives in his second run of the night, his second run of the year.
Don Cooper, some words for Dan Jennings. Jake Petrichka went 2 2/3 out of the bullpen, 3 hits, an earned run and a strikeout. Zach Putnam, 3 innings, 2 strikeouts. And Jennings trying to keep the Angels from any further damage this half inning. First of a 7-game homestand for the Sox. New Orleans-born second baseman Johnny Giavotella takes strike 1.
So if you're starting a baseball team,
yes,
and you've got your choice of either guy, Bryce Harper, Mike Trout, who do you take? And you can't have both of them.
Do I have to take one of them?
You have to.
Can't take Correa.
You have to also pay for them.
I do. Out of my own pocket, or on the with the prize shelf?
Well,
will they take Abreu bleacher creatures?
Probably
as
not.
Currency?
No, either one. Let's say they cost the same exact amount of money, and they're a year apart.
Eaton gives chase to the line and right, and has out number 1 in his glove. Giovanni Soto the tag to third. 1 away. There is a story about that on Fangraphs today, actually, that Bryce Harper is catching Mike Trout, at least according to the metrics, with the strikeout rate dropping for Harper and all that. You win with both of them, don't you? I know that's a cop-out,
yes,
but you win with both of them.
Well, it is, La Grand Weasel. Let's go. Come up with something.
If Bryce Harper could play the Phillies all the time, I would take Harper.
No, I think Harper as the National League MVP and Trout as the former American League MVP and perennial every year in the top 4 of the MVPs. You would have to say that they're both good players. Personally, because he's a left-hand hitter, I would take Harper.
You would?
Not because necessarily he's a better player, because you know you can go 6 of one, half dozen of the other, but I like the left-hand hitter because most lineups are right-handed heavy, and left-handed run producers are difficult to find. I also like the fact that there's more right-handed starters than left, and the fact that there's more right-handed consequential closers and setup men than there are left-handed.
So you think in big spots, Bryce Harper, just matchup-wise, is your better bet?
I'm just saying that making a lineup, if I can start with a left-handed run producer, I think it's easier to find right-hand hitters who are consequential hitters down the road. You can't lose with either of them, but again, I have to make a choice. You skirted the idea of the choice. I, of course, proposed it, so I picked one.
Well, that's what they taught me at Wake Forest Law.
Boy, I'll tell you
There's
what.
always an argument on each side of the V. To right field, Adam Eaton. Will Soto test him? And the answer is a definitive no, as Adam 1 hops it to the dish. 2 out in the 8th. You could make a strong argument for Trout based on demeanor, based on the fact that Harper's more likely to get hurt because of how
really
vigorously he plays.
Well, vigorously, yes, they both play fairly vigorously, but I would say
But
that
not as
you are going to get exceptional soreness from straddling this fence as long as you've straddled it.
Actually saw them open at Ravinia. Exceptional soreness.
Was that a grunge band?
They can really, really play guitar. They can melt your face off. Exceptional soreness. Here is Gentry, who takes the ball.
I'd like to thank David Spada and Elliot Harris for sending me a couple of books talking football with Hall of Famers and their recollections of what it was like. Thank you very much, David and Elliot. I'm sure they're going to be a great read. For anybody who really enjoys football, you can't hear it from better folks who were there than the Hall of Famers that they interviewed and then wrote about.
Well, you're in the middle of a very compelling book right now if people want to join the Steve Stone Book Club.
Yes, I Am Pilgrim, an excellent book, couple years old. I think it, well, I laughed, I cried. It had every element of what you really need in a book. Certainly, breaking it out in a 7-0 game in the 8th inning might not be a bad idea.
Well, I thought people might want to join the Steve Stone Book Club.
Yes, well, it's, you know, something to do on the road.
Yeah.
When I'm not tweeting.
Which is always.
which is quite a bit.
Swing and a miss, and 2-2 on Gentry.
Gentry has yet to have the ball out of the infield in 4 at-bats.
Two and 2 from Jennings, just short of 50 pitches tonight. Breaking ball, top to third, and foul for Frazier. Well, the Sox in the bottom of the 8th will have the 9-1 and 2 hitters, Jackson, Eaton, and Rollins on the way. For a team that scored 2 runs each in the final 2 games of that Tampa series and snuck out with that 1-0 complete game shutout win for Chris Sale. His first ever 1-0 complete game shutout on Friday night. 2-2. Frazier, a short direction, 5-4 on the out, and Gentry 0 for 5. Angels tack on 1 more for a 7-0 lead.
We got a new pitcher as Santiago will depart after throwing a good solid 7. Greg Malley on for the 4th time, 4.5 ERA. Couple of innings of work, and he's got a huge lead to protect.
This is his major league debut season. Drafted in 2014 in the 15th round out of UCSB. And just 2 years in the minors and 1 game in Salt Lake. And here he is.
Got a fastball with some sink, changeup, and a slider.
8 pitches yesterday for Malley in that loss to the Twins. And he throws ball 1 to Austin Jackson. Oh, it's 7 innings of 2-hit ball from Hector Santiago this evening.
Well, he was very good. 3 walks, 10 strikeouts. The only guys to solve them, Abreu in the 1st inning. And the double by Eaton. He crushed that ball leading off the 6th, but Sox could not move him.
Malley drops down 2-1.
You don't see many left-handers dropping down to right-hand hitters.
What kind of look is that for the hitter?
Well, he can usually see it all the way, and unless you keep it consistently on the outside corner at the knees, you're going to get yourself in some trouble. The great sidearm or submarining right-handers that pitched, Kent Tekulve, one of them, Dan Quisenberry, another one of those guys. They did it with outstanding control, because when you do drop down, you just don't have a lot of deception. You get a lot of movement, you're going to get some sink, you're going to get some run, but unless you consistently can throw it low and away to the left-hand hitters, if you're a right-hander, as those two were, you're going to have some problems.
3-2 on Jackson, who struck out in the 3rd and bounced out to 3rd base in the 5th. Jackson drills it to left, but he got under it. 1 down.
He caught that ball just off the end of the bat. A little movement away from him kept it off the sweet spot, and it stayed in the ballpark.
1 down for Adam Eaton. We got a nice delivery in the booth earlier today. Our 2016 Major League Baseball rule book.
That was really nice. And so if anything happens that has to be interpreted in any way, shape, or form, we have that book. I particularly like Rule 9.03, but we'll get into that at a later date.
We will. When it's relevant or after this pitch? It's 2-0.
No, neither. We're going to keep that one.
Never use
we're going
it?
to keep that one in abeyance. We can, however, talk about 6.01, which is interference, obstruction, and catcher collisions. And that has become a completely different rule over the last few years, probably because of that collision at home plate with Buster Posey. And a lot of people believe that that should be changed a bit. It has been changed somewhat, but a lot of people believe that it can be changed a little bit more. And because this is a living, breathing rule book, when things don't work out particularly well, they do have a tendency to change them.
You know, the new rule with the slide at second base this year seems to have forced people to adjust very quickly. I think some of the things managers are saying, seems like the teaching mechanism there of it's not worth it, just going to the bag now, has happened rather quickly.
Well, I think it has to, because it's a huge penalty.
She can't believe that they changed the rule.
No, she's absolutely shocked. She was very comfortable with the rule before, and now she's just aghast. She's got the vapors.
2-2. Pulled to first. Pujols takes it himself. And out number 2. Iron rules really do get people amped up. Anytime you say, I'm going to read this statute to you, people's hearts start to get all aflutter.
Because they do change.
They do.
And a couple that we talked about, the play at second base and the play at the plate, have changed fairly drastically over the last few years. Now, you can understand that there is a certain element of trying to protect the players. There was a time when it was just open season at second base. I mean, they were taking guys out routinely. In fact, guys were sliding over the bag and hitting them on the outfield side of second base, rolling them, which is a slide where they would start to slide and then pop up and roll. Guys were getting hit right in the midsection, getting taken out of plays. That, obviously, those days are long over, and they weren't great, and there's one inside the line.
Jimmy Rollins tracing the chalk to right field, and he has been on 3 times this double with 2 out in the 8th.
Certainly going to help this on-base percentage as he shoots this up the first base side. Albert was well off the line, no chance for him. Darryl Boston saying take off, even though Calhoun has a good arm. So Jimmy Rollins with an on-base percentage coming in of .231 is certainly going to help that.
3 out of 4 times today on base. And Malley trying to take care of Abreu. That's career double number 506 for Jimmy Rollins, who played most of his time in Philadelphia as the leadoff man, but where he was when he wasn't leading off was generally the 2 spot for those Phillies teams. So he's right at home in that position in the order with the Sox. I think Jose didn't like that first pitch strike and then went after the 0-1. It's 0-2.
Yeah, it looks like the first pitch had about half the corner.
Bouncing ball to short, and Simmons to retire the side. 2-out double for Rollins. He is left there. We go to the 9th. The Angels up 7. Zach Duke may be coming up.
Game, and he's going to finish off the 9th inning on for the 9th time. So he's been a busy man. He is the quintessential situational left-hander. 8 previous appearances with just 2 2/3 innings, 4 hits, a walk, 3 strikeouts.
So Mike Trout, Albert Pujols, Cole Calhoun, 3, 4, 5 in the order for the Angels on the way. They have reached a combined 5 times. They've scored a combined 4 runs, with each scoring in the first inning as Trout takes strike one.
Boy, if we got a Lowe's never stop improving statistic for you.
Do we?
Yes.
Well, it better be good. It never stops improving. There's a ball low, 1-1.
So, time now for a Lowe's never stop improving stat. 4 straight seasons, top 2 in AL MVP voting. Trout, 12, 13, 14, and 15. Yogi Berra, 53, 54, 55, and 56. Pretty impressive for both players. Yogi with a few more World Series championships. Trout, long way to go yet.
A couple of All-Star Game MVPs to his name.
He is still not 25 years old.
He's the youngest player ever with 100 homers and 100 stolen bases.
It's pretty amazing, and I think we will see the stolen bases drop off, and we're going to see the home runs probably continue for quite some time.
Off the plate outside, 2-2 from Duke as the Angels put up 5 runs in the first inning tonight and really made this a no contest off the jump.
I will, however, tomorrow go down and talk to Mike and tell him that he was the man you refused to pick in a 2-horse race.
You know, I was just at Keeneland this weekend, so it was difficult to.
That's right. You were doing the inter-squad.
Yes, the blue-white game.
Kentucky football game.
Fouled away by Trout. Still 3-2. You know, we saw Jose Abreu finish that 8th inning. He was the one that had the final out of that 8th inning. He had come in with no hits in his last 3 games. That is the second time only in his career he had no hits in a 3-game span. As Frazier picks it and sends it across the way for out number 1. That's how consistent Abreu has been 2 times only. And the other was a 4-game span between the 15th and 18th of April, his first season. And he picked up a hit tonight.
Oh, what's pretty amazing about him is that he's still, major league-wise, a very young player. And he came over as an older player. By older, I mean, 26-year-old. But he has been remarkably good. His approach is outstanding. His work ethic is wonderful. And
he's got great heart, too. I mean, you talk to him about his country, and you can do it at length. And he does it with great passion. He cares very much about the country he came from in Cuba. 1-1 on Pujols. Three guys on the left side of second base, and Jimmy Rollins plucks it for out number 2. The Angels came in one of the top 7 teams in Major League Baseball in ground ball to fly ball ratio, nearly 2-1. They've been hitting the ball on the ground quite a bit, and we've seen that again tonight, especially with their outs.
It's not really a bad philosophy. I mean, if you're going to hit a lot of home runs, quite obviously, that isn't the type of team character you're going to have. But when you have some guys who are not home run hitters, you don't want them hitting fly balls. I mean, you don't want Gentry hitting fly balls. He's got terrific speed. Now, hasn't shown tonight because he's had a tough night, but he's the kind of hitter you want to see him hit the ball on the ground. Trout and Pujols, well, they're going to hit the ball out of the ballpark, and so they're going to hit it in the air.
Well, you said it
also
earlier.
A home run hitter.
You said it earlier. Mike Scioscia manages that way. He manages for a team that plays like that.
And he's used a hit and run once tonight, and it's worked very well for him. Used to be when you played this team, if you didn't have a catcher who could throw it or a pitching staff that held runners on, they would literally run you out of the ballpark. That's how Mike and that organization played, and they were very difficult to beat year in and year out because of that. And the saying is that speed never slumps. You bring that to the park every day, it's always a factor. But he doesn't have that kind of team, and hasn't had that kind of team in quite some time, as they have shifted with different general managers and some suggestions from other places. They've shifted to more power hitters. And of course, the drafting of Mike Trout, and again, he was picked 25th. So to show you it's not an exact science, one of the great players in the game was picked 25th.
Benny Vidi Vici for Zach Duke, 3 in a row. Trout, Pujols, Calhoun. Goodbye to them. Bottom 9 next.
For a baseball matinee. Don't miss a single pitch as the good guys close out the series with the Angels. Coverage starting at 12:30 with White Sox pregame live, presented by the Koalas family of dealerships on CSN Chicago. And we got a new pitcher coming in the ball game, and it is Mike Morin. On for the 8th time. Been a busy man. He's 1-0, but the ERA at 5.79. 4 2/3 with 8 hits. That's a lot. Opponents hitting .364 against him. That's also high, and surprisingly, right-handers have hit him better than left-handers. So a pretty good chance. Todd Frazier to break out of this.
It is the first time Frazier has seen Morin in his career. Last time Todd was up, he walked in the 6th. And the ball has gotten away from Morin, one of the rare missteps by the Halos from Cali tonight. Diavitella grabs out number 1. Sox got 2 runners on in the first inning, and as it turns out, that was the best threat they had between the 1st and the 8th. A 2-out double for Jimmy Rollins in the 8th, and also had 2 runners on in the 6th.
Leadoff double by Eaton. You thought Sox had a chance to break through, but unfortunately a couple of strikeouts and then a walk before the Melky pop-up, and that was that in the 6th.
Melky came in with a hit in 6 straight starts. He's 0 for 3 tonight.
Gets a turnaround from the side where he hits the ball a bit better, the left side.
Pop this one up. Simmons ranges over, 2 down. So as Laurie comes up, you're 8-4 coming in. You've lost now 3 in a row. What do you do, at least emotionally in the club? Like, how do you handle this? What do you want to see from the team tomorrow?
The same thing you wanted to see today, but just didn't do it. You were overwhelmed by a pitcher that had exceptional stuff tonight in Hector Santiago. You're going out there tomorrow with the same idea that you came home off the road with, and that is go out and get yourself a win and hope that the offense is going to find a little bit more a way to break out of it, maybe a few walks, and then
Saladino stands in to pinch hit.
Get some guys to just try to hit the ball hard. I don't think that you can really go out with any different game plan. It's a game plan that you go out with each and every day. You just go out there, try to jump on the opposing pitcher early, and get your starter some runs.
Got inside on Tyler, and Escobar waits for it to come down, and a series opening win for the Angels. Tony, your final thoughts tonight?
Again, one of those games where the starting pitcher of the other team, in this case Hector Santiago, was just too good. So it started in an ominous way, 5 runs in the first inning. The Angels were never headed after that, so they break a losing streak. Sox continue theirs, and we will get right back at them tomorrow night.
We'll talk to you tomorrow on WPWR. And tonight, for our director, Jim Angio, our producer, John Walgren, our associate producer, Chris Kamka, our tech manager, Mark Harper, the executive producer, Jim Corno Jr., our entire crew. And for Steve Stone, I'm Jason Benetti saying so long. Coming up next, Subaru Postgame Live with Chuck and Bill. And Subaru Postgame Live coming up next. You've been watching Chicago White Sox baseball on Comcast Sportsnet. Good night.